Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, I'm Fatimah Ihza Aulia from Mathematics Education 2018 U. In this video, I'm gonna present my idea, my project for methodology penelitian subject. Its title is Development of Interactive Learning Media using Microsoft PowerPoint Macro on Permutation and Combination Material. There are 4 parts that I will present today. There are introduction, problem formulation, theoretical framework, and the last one is method. So we're gonna move to the first one, that is introduction. Mathematics is known as a material that its concept is abstract. It is hard to visualize and concretize it. There are some students who still find that mathematics is a difficult subject. Based on research by National Center for Education Statistics in the United States in 2013, there are only 4,000 students who are experts in mathematics. Besides, mathematics should be an infallible and general-purpose technique for satisfying other needs. It should be a solution for our daily lives. But as we know, there are some mathematics material that it is actually based on the concrete problems. There are some real world problems in it, such as permutation and combination material. Buzadi and Lau Xin-chai stated that students need a real world problems to stimulate learning and retaining knowledge in studying permutation and combination. Garfield and Alcorn also reveal that permutation and combination are the basic in learning discrete mathematics. In Indonesia itself, students receive permutation and combination material after learning about probability in 12th grade in senior high school. But in fact, students still make a mistake, and there are some misconception in understanding permutation and combination problem. Lockwood also stated that students also find it difficult to propose permutation and combination problems, so that to analyze problem is also difficult. So we go next to the learning media. Learning media can be a tool to communicate the abstract of mathematics and realistic problem. Learning media can be used as a tool or material in learning. There are 6 categories of media. There are text, audio, visual, video, manipulative, and person. So we know book that we use is one of the learning media that chosen by teachers that can be used by students as a resource in learning. But there are a lot of students feel faced with textbook that usually used because it is only based on text and visual. But using Microsoft PowerPoint Macro, students can easily to understand material more than using textbook, because it contains text, visual, video, and also audio. So it has more media that contain in Microsoft PowerPoint Macro than in book. Watt in 2006 said that technology can be used to present material that can be assessed by students in learning. So the use of PowerPoint itself will be really useful in our learning. So with the reason that I've explained, the existence of PowerPoint macro in learning permutation and combination material will be suitable and effective. Contextual and interactive PowerPoint macro will also facilitate students to understand permutation and combination. And so the next problem formulation. In my idea and my research, there will be 2 problem formulation. The first one is how is the development of learning media using Microsoft PowerPoint macro in permutation and combination material. And the second one is how is the effectiveness of the learning media using Microsoft PowerPoint macro. And so for the theoretical framework, there will be 6 parts that I will explain. The first one is mathematics, combinatoric, permutation and combination, learning media, the effectiveness of learning media, and the last one is Microsoft PowerPoint macro. So the first one, mathematics, I will explain like uh, I will explain in universal, like how is mathematics, what is mathematics, like what is it, and so we go to the combinatoric. As we know, combinatoric is one of the mathematic discrete, and in this in mathematic discrete there is permutation and combination, which will be the main focus of this research. So because this is a development research, so it will be using learning media. So I will explain like what is learning media, what is it, and how is it. How can we make a learning media? How can we use learning media and the others? And because the problem formulation is to see how is the effectiveness of the learning media that we use. So in the fifth theoretical framework, we'll also explain the effectiveness of learning media. And the last one, because we use Microsoft PowerPoint macro, I will explain a little bit about Microsoft PowerPoint macro. But in this step, I still haven't uh, uh, write it out nicely in my research, in my study. So yeah. The last one is method. So this research method is development using ADDIE development as the model of this research. What is ADDIE? ADDIE is steps to produce the product and design specifically for learning. ADDIE stands for analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. So this analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation is 5 steps that we have go through to uh, to get the learning media as we wanted. So the first step is analysis. We analyze the needs, technology, curriculum, and students' characteristic. So the curriculum analysis is to determine the material that's suitable with the learning media. And in this research, we use permutation and combination material. We also need to analyze the students' characteristic based on their physiological development and thinking phase of the 12th grade students, because this learning media will be used for them for the 12th grade students. So we have to know what kind of learning media that's suitable for them. And we have to analyze the technology. It is for the development learning media, so we can determine the range. How can we use the technology as media in learning? As we know that Microsoft PowerPoint is also one of the technology. So yeah, by knowing the technology, we can know like how to use the right one. So yeah, by doing this step, by doing analysis, we can know the needs and effectiveness of the development of interactive learning media. which in this research we use PowerPoint macro. The next step is design. So it is to design the product that we develop. In this researcher, we make a storyboard that is interactive and attractive for 12 grade students, which conclude the design of template, menu, navigation tools, and also the material. So the design of this product have been consulted to experts, of course. So yeah, in this design, we will there will be an avatar which will communicate to the students who use this learning media. So it will be an interactive learning media. So the next step is development, which there are 3 parts of this learning media. There are introduction, contents, and closing. These parts will be presented in Microsoft PowerPoint Macro. So in the introduction, there will be some menu to students. They can go to the material or go to the quiz or straight to the conclude. Yeah. And there will be some quizzes too for students so they can measure their knowledge about this material. And in contents, which is like what I've said before, it is for the material, the quiz. In material, there will be given in a conversation in the storyboard. So will be interactive for both the teacher who make this learning media and the students. And the last one is closing. In this closing, there will be a conclusion of the material. And if you before you go to the quiz, in the closing, you will get the result of your quiz. So the 4th step is implementation, and so the products of this research will be given to students. They used and evaluated the products by filling questionnaire for students. It was meant to get correction and critics. And the last step is evaluation. In this evaluation is we get the result of the questionnaire, of the test, and the interview. So it will show the effectiveness of this learning media, which this result will be used as a reference the existence of the product. And also the subject of this research are 12 grade students from a high school in Sidoarjo. And the data collection techniques in this research use the expert test to determine the validation of the learning media. And there are interview and tests to determine of the learning to determine the effectiveness of learning media, which will given to students. So yeah, that's all for my presentation. Thank you for your attention. I'm sorry there are some mistakes. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.